coming in, but I couldn't do anything about it.
That's where you couldn't stop me, huh?
No, I didn't mean that.
I just,
Greeting you.
I've been working around my house this morning and I thought, oh, I'm gonna be late.
What are you doing?
Oh, just usual
Yeah?
stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of cleaning out stuff.
Oh, good.
And I can only do, like that, I can only think of one thing at a time now,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, but it's good.
Does it feel good to get things done?
Yeah, only I wish it would happen faster.
Well,
You know, it's hurry up and wait.
Yeah. You're gonna sell your building?
The building,
Yeah.
yes,
Not,
not my home.
yeah, the building.
Yeah.
Helen, I think, mentioned it on Sunday.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, you've
Which
lived
is-
there a long time.
49 years.
I didn't know it was that long.
But
Seriously?
it was time. There's a little
Yeah.
sadness
Yeah.
because Tom, my husband, you know, that's how he made his living and he put a lot into that building.
Yeah.
He and Lenny both. I mean,
Yeah.
they worked very hard
Yeah.
on that building to bring it up.
It's
and-
a loss. It's a memory and a loss and.
But it's time.
Yeah.
And I know it, we all know.
Right.
And it's a good thing.
I don't know. My dad had to sell two buildings. He owned a department store in
Okay.
Whitehall and a restaurant, a big one.
Oh,
Yeah, so he sold both of them at the same time. And he was in his 80s.
Yeah.
When he did it, you know.
I think that's where the message comes in. You have to balance reality
Yeah,
with emotionality,
Yeah.
if there's such
Yeah.
a word. And
Yeah.
it's, yeah. But it's time, and I've come to terms with it,
Yeah.
and my kids felt the sadness.
yeah.
Because, you know, they've been going in that building since they were little
Mm-hmm.
kids. And
I did too. It had its own smell. Both of them had their own smells.
Yeah. but, you
Yeah.
know, it's a
Well,
good thing.
Well, good for you.
Yeah,
Good for you.
it's, yeah, I'm gonna stay in my house as long as I can do it.
Yeah, sure, of course.
And people say to me, what do you need all that room for?
It's your home.
It's my home.
It's your
and that's
home.
where truly where my heart is.
Right, so, you know.
And
Yeah,
I think my kids, my daughter Kristen, she works at the town hall. Yeah, that,
she processed our paperwork.
oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
But Kristen grew up in Millbrook.
Yeah.
And she, you know, the church was always a big thing
Mhm.
in my children's
Mhm.
upbringing, and
Yeah.
although everything has changed,
Yeah.
but anyway, she said, Mom, if you ever sell the house, and I said, well, I have no plans to do
Uh-huh.
that. And she said, but I think you should sell it to my oldest granddaughter's
Yeah.
married.
Okay.
She
Hey,
said,
Ruth.
hello, sell it or give it to them because it would keep it in the family.
Mhm.
See, that's how they feel. It's a family thing.
Of course.
But,
Yeah, I get it. I totally get that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I was on the other end of it, being, you know, the son.
yeah,
Yeah, my dad wanted me to take over this. He said, take over either one, both of them. Yeah, it wasn't in the cards for me. I
yeah,
had this crazy thing going on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just, my granddaughter and her husband, they live in Connecticut.
Mhm.
But I mean, the thought of them moving back,
Yeah.
I don't think is realistic
Yeah.
anymore. In fact, I don't know who knows what the future
You
will
don't
hold.
know. Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, it'd be the family compound. It'd be like the Kennedys.
Yeah. Well, a family compound I could stand, but not like the Kennedys. Oh, jeez.
Kenny Bunkport.
Yeah. Well, Rose, who ruled with an iron hand, I think, for her whole family, and it didn't work out so well for a lot of them.
No. Power and hubris
Yeah.
is not a great combination. Yeah.
There's a lot of power-hungry people. I wouldn't want it. myself.
Yeah,
Not negative power,
Yeah.
we see.
yeah. Well, we've got a person who's vile and incompetent. That is a terrible combination.
Did you?
Do we have this on tape? I'm sure we might.
Oh.
But it's true.
What I didn't understand yesterday, I thought I was seeing things. It looked like the president was on the White House grounds with Elon Musk, and all of Elon's cars were lined up.
Yeah, it was an advertisement.
What? I couldn't, I thought, no,
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't be seeing that.
No. There's absolutely there's no law, rules, anything in his life, and never has been, or in Elon Musk's life either. So, I mean, the millions that Trump has gained from being president, selling stuff,
Yeah.
his hotel, he's a mobster. Yeah, he acts just like a mobster.
And that's,
And always has. This is nothing new.
No.
The country thinks this is new. It's not new. He's been like this his entire adult life. I've followed him for 35 years.
have you really?
Carefully. Yeah. This is nothing new. He's a narcissistic person, and he's classic narcissist. He could be the
Poster boy?
poster boy for narcissism. It's right down the line. He's
But you can't.
perfect.
You can't sell, and what he was doing was selling those cars.
Oh, I know.
I mean, he didn't say that, of course.
Well, that's what it was. Yeah,
But-
of course.
On our ground.
That's right. They don't care.
No
They
rules
don't,
apply.
and I mean seriously, they don't care. They don't care. There's no sense of guilt, shame, empathy, none of that. I mean, they're of a different humanity than normal people.
I don't,
Yeah, they have no shame. And I mean, they don't have any shame. There's no shame. There's no ethic. There's no nothing. Yeah, we don't want to see people like that,
No.
right? And good people don't. But people like that exist. And it's a small percentage of the population, but they do exist. And when they find themselves wielding power, they are impossible. I mean, they're tragic, lonely figures. None of them have any friends. I mean, it's a horrible way to be a human being if you are a human being. I mean, at what point are you no longer a human being? That's what we've elected to office, is somebody that's really on the edge of not being human.
Well, yesterday,
Sad.
he fired half the people in the education
Mhm.
department.
Right.
Well, we need those. We need
Well, of course we do.
an education department.
Of course we do.
What's going to happen
Doesn't
to
care.
our children?
Well, you gotta keep them dumb. That's part of the,
Yeah.
that's part of, you have to cut out the press, and you have to make people dumber than they already are. I mean, Americans are unbelievably dumb and gullible as it is. We're exposed now for who we are.
But I never thought that in my life.
Me neither, but it's
I'm
true.
so stunned by the
That's
whole
right.
thing.
People have to come around to that we are really dumb, a dumb country, and gullible. Oh, God, we're gullible. So,
Yeah.
it's sad. I mean,
It's-
isn't one of the commandments, is idolatry? Isn't that one of the commandments?
Serpent.
Yeah, we've seen all this. If you're a person of faith, we've seen all this before. This is not new. It's just our turn.
Well,
But you'd think we'd be better than that, but we're not. We're not better than that.
I think the opinion of the world
Oh,
is,
I can't wait to go to Canada. We're going to be there in 3 weeks. Can't wait to go there and see what they have to say about
I
it.
don't see afraid to go there.
Yeah.
Listen, people are
Yeah,
angry.
I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to ask them. What are you thinking? I want to know.
They'll probably be happy to tell you.
Yeah, it'll be a
Yeah.
really good trip.
And they've always been such good neighbors.
Oh, they're fantastic neighbors.
And there, you know, there's never been.
Hey, Helen.
Ascension. But now, and then he backed off his 50% tower fund.
Well,
Gee
I mean,
whiz.
you know, it's just incompetent,
Yes,
you know.
we're
We're talking about Herod the Great. No, Herod Antipas. Who's,
Again?
well, you know, it's,
We railed him over pretty good yesterday, didn't we say?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm exhausted, and I watched a lot of stuff last night, and I was
Did you?
watching a lot of stuff this morning as I was whipping around. I gotta put it on more often. I can go through my house at 90 miles an hour because my Irish is on.
get you fired up.
I want to hear about the event you went to.
Well, I didn't go because.
After all that,
I know, I was so psyched up.
and the prophet knew you weren't gonna go.
This tooth abscess, something
Oh, come on, you're gonna let that slow you down?
Yes.
You're gonna let that slow you down, a little tooth abscess? Nothing.
You should have seen me.
Kidding?
People would have thought I had the mumps and, you know, stayed
Ah.
far away.
What happened?
I had a tooth abscess, so I didn't go.
Did the prophet know that you had a tooth abscess?
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I should have consulted him.
You should have. Isn't that what this is all
I
about?
think they said they were gonna video it or whatever.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure
when
they
it
did.
gets on the video thing, I'll watch it and
Yeah.
I can tell you then what the story is about
Oh, about the day.
particular
Oh,
prophet.
okay.
All right, well, it's the four of us, so we should get going. And hi, everyone at home, and thanks for joining in. It's lovely. This is our 6th week. Okay, so typically what happens around here is we get to the 6th week, and the pastor will say, you know, would you like to do more? And that's totally up to you. It's fine if we don't. It's great if we do. You know, there's obviously this is a very big subject, and a very big section of the Bible are the prophets, and you know, we're just looking at little tiny little bits of it. I've done what I can to, you know, kind of frame it out for you. But that's about it. So after today we're going to take a look at Jeremiah.
I'm up for more if you're asking.
If you want to, I mean, it's up to you, and you know, and if you don't, please let me know. It's not the end of the world, you know.
Do you need a break?
Yes, that comes in 5 years, I'm told.
Sabbatical.
Yeah.
70.
I'm going on sabbatical in 5 years. Yeah.
70s.
It's called my early death. So
I think I've learned a lot. I mean,
it's good
I
stuff,
would
isn't it?
certainly be willing to do more.
You want to do
But,
maybe
yeah,
2 more? You want to do 2 more after this?
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
mind, but I sometimes can't come on a Wednesday.
Yeah,
That's
well-
why I've been sporadic.
Yeah. Well, there's people watching too. We have 20 to 30
Yeah,
people
That's
watching.
right, right.
You know, during the week. So I'm mindful. I don't know who they are. I don't know who you are if you're watching. But they're watching, and I don't know.
know one.
Who is it? Grace Rosa. Yeah.
And she watches
Yeah, Grace, if you want,
everything
yeah, if you guys want to, if you're watching, if you want a little bit more, somehow let me know. So I've never taught this before, by the way. I've studied it, but I've never taught it. So this is new to me, too, that way. Well, let's take a look at, why don't you mull that over, and we don't have to decide today either. If you want to, just get back to me, because I've got the syllabus in my head anyway, so.
I would like to,
Okay.
but I,
You want to, Sandy, you want to when you can.
Yes,
Okay.
but if nobody comes next week but me, or
Yeah,
then
you
we
need to
can-
have
we can-
some
we
kind of
can,
a group.
you
You need some kind of a group.
Yeah, we need a little bigger group than this. I think.
Yeah,
And it's getting nice weather, so.
yeah. Well, maybe we
So-
can quit and do something in the fall, right? We can continue it in the fall if you want to. All right, so I guess I'll make a decision.
Yeah, you decide,
I'll
let us
decide.
know, because
Okay.
either way is fine with me.
I just wanted to get through Jeremiah for sure. We can do,
Yes, I'm a yes.
you're yes, okay.
I'm a yes.
All right. Because the weather is nicer and I prefer not to work. The smoke cigars out on the porch with Nicole.
That sounds like the cold smoking.
So that sounds wonderful. Sipping coffee and smoking on the porch. Anyway, I thought we'd start out with Jeremiah to do maybe a little bit of comparison from the last 2 weeks, I guess it is. And I want to start with Lamentation. That is a book that is written by Jeremiah, the prophet Jeremiah, and it is well named. It is a lament. It's long. It's heartbreaking. And if you read the whole thing, I mean, you'll be exhausted by the end of it. It's just have you ever had your heart broken so badly that it takes you years to get over it? You ever been in that situation? I have. A couple times. And if you are going through something like that, Lamentations is kind of a great read in terms of, if you're reading something that resonates, it's good that way. So I'm looking at Lamentations. Can everybody find it? Lamentations 666.
That's that number that's not supposed to be a good number.
Yeah, it's the sign. It's the sign of the beast.
Yeah, that.
You know that Jared Kushner, his building that he had a hard time financing until he, by hook or crook, cheated.
Change the number probably.
He did not change the number, but it's 666 Park Avenue. I think it's 666 Park Avenue, which I think is very funny and perfectly suited to it. Anyway, yeah, this is a sign of the beast.
It's interesting that.
Right? It's Satan, yeah. Anyway, if you believe that kind of numerology stuff, I think things are bad enough as they are without doing that. Anyway, so we're at Lamentations 3, and we're going to read through 24. If somebody wants to read through 12 and then split it up, it'd be good. Lamentations 3:1.
I'll read it.
Okay.
My eyes aren't that great,
Well,
so if I miss,
Or just
if I say something wrong.
make stuff up.
Okay.
No, it's not.
I am one who has seen affliction under the rod of God's wrath. He has driven and brought me into darkness without any light against me. Alone he turns his hand again and again all day long. I didn't have him. He has made my flesh and my skin waste away and broken my bones. He has besieged and enveloped me with bitterness and tribulation. He has made me sit in darkness like the dead of long ago. He has walled me about so that I cannot escape. But he has put heavy chains on me. Though I call and cry for help, he shuts out my prayer. He has blocked my ways with hewn stones. He has made my path crooked. He is a bear lying in wait for me, a lion in hiding. He led me off my way and tore me to pieces. He has made me desolate. He bent his bow and set me as a mark for his arrow.
Okay, all right, thank you. This is all cheery stuff,
Yeah,
right?
this
Cheery.
is making me feel
Jared, you're right.
But you gotta admit, you don't feel alone after this one, right? Right? It's happened before, right?
My golly.
Right? Well, in much of the book of Lamentation reads like this, and it's about God. He's talking about God, right? You know, when you hear words like fear the Lord and respect the Lord and all that, which is, I think, a good thing to do, of course. It's a right attitude. However, there are many places in the Bible, this being one of them, I'm thinking about Ecclesiastes too, it's a very cranky book. And a lot of the Psalms are also pretty cranky when it comes to, David,
Sort of
he's
blaming the Lord.
blaming the Lord, and he's paranoid and the whole bit.
All the bad
typical.
things that happen.
But this person, Jeremiah, is pointing this at God. Doesn't that help your prayer life? To just let it rip? Let it rip. I mean, some of my prayers at home are horrendous. And I feel I have some permission because of this stuff. Let it rip. And at least then we have a honest to God relationship with our Maker. And, and you can be wrong. You might not get it right. I mean, that's okay too, right? We get it wrong. And he might get it wrong. It might be wrong, right? God has broken my bones, ripped off my flesh. I mean, it's horrible. Okay, maybe 5 years later you might say, well, I may not put it like that now. But at the moment, it's hot. It's hot. And so does anybody know what the issue is? What's going on?
No?
It's Babylon.
Oh,
It's Babylon. Yeah. Yeah. He's not saying all this because of personal issues. It's personal because it's national. You see what I mean? They've lost their country. They're being carted off, and I have the number because it's in Lamentations. 4,600 people were taken away at 3 different times. That's the collective number is 4,600. Brightest and best scraped off. Burn your cities to the ground, villages, towns. Burn them to the ground. We're taking the best that you got.
he just took the cream of the crop.
That's right. Yeah. They're not taking everybody. They're just taking the people with real skills. All the skilled people are gone. Bad. I think Dutchess County has almost 300,000 people. I looked it up today. Who would you take out of Dutchess? If you were to attack Dutchess County and then take off the cream of the crop back home, who would you take? And there were decisions back then. Who represents the cream of the crop in Dutchess County? Doctors?
Well, they're pretty important.
Administrators?
And
Yeah, that was my response.
No? Because they took,
if we could get rid of some of them at the very top
Yeah.
of everything.
well, I mean just in Dutchess County.
Dutchess County.
Just Dutchess County. Oh, you're still with Dutchess. Well, maybe they're watching right now. Who knows? I don't know. If you're a top person in administrator in Dutchess County, beware. You're staying here. Lucky for you. Yeah, so that was a decision that they were making in Babylon is who, and how do you find out? And they must have gotten information from the inside. Who are the people that are really worthy of stripping off 4,600 people? Yeah. I don't know what the population of Israel was at the time. I don't bet it was kind of in that neighborhood. I could be wrong. 4,600. 4,600 of our brightest and best in Dutchess County. Who goes? Interesting question. Yeah.
And the rest of them were just killed. I mean,
No, you're
they just left there and starved. or
Well, here's your
whatever.
burn city. Good luck.
So they starved or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right?
Them.
They have that burn layer, remember,
Uh,
in Jerusalem. Now you can dig down and get a burn layer, and that's this. where
I guess a lot of them burned up then. If
Oh, they
just-
burned it.
if
They burned everything.
If
Yeah.
they burned down
Yeah.
everything, a lot
And-
of them probably died right
yeah,
there.
well, and you're gonna starve, you have no institutions, you know, it's what we're doing right now. Just rip to pieces your institutions. You weaken almost to death your institutional life. I'm an institutionalist, by the way, I'll admit it. I think you have to have a great country has to have great institutions, period. It's not about, getting an orange-haired man in the Oval Office. He does not understand this.
And you gotta have good leaders of those institutions.
That's right.
That's the
That's
big
right.
problem.
We talk about government and bureaucracy and all that. You have to have that to have a good country or a great country. I'd settle for fair at this stage. C minus even, at this moment. But yeah, so that's what's happening in Israel with Babylon. They're stripping out all the institutions, the buildings, so what's left? You've seen pictures of Germany after World War II. And if we didn't have the Marshall Plan for them to rebuild those institutions and God only knows what they'd be like now. How long it takes to recover. Look at Cuba, for instance. It's still just crashing down. Look at Russia. It's a third world country. Third world. You get outside of Moscow and it's just a pit. So, somebody stabs me with an umbrella in the next few days. Try to investigate. But you see what I mean? It's so hard to recover an institution. Think of Lyall. It's an institution. We're a church, but we're an institution. And all that has to happen for it to run, the only thing left here that you need is a decent pastor. So, but Warren Buffett has said this. He will buy a business or a corporation even he will buy a very good, excellent company, let's say, even if the CEO doesn't know what he's doing, if the business can run on its own. But please do not buy a business if the CEO is crackerjack and the business is lousy, because the business will always win.
Unless you wanna run it, and then,
What he's saying is, you can get the best CEO on earth, but if your business is bad, there's nothing he will be able to do. The business will win and take everything down. So, as far as a country working, I think the United States has worked really, really well for centuries, because it's a great business model, if you will. So in some ways, it doesn't matter who's in the White House. It does, but it doesn't matter because it keeps churning along, right? Because of our business model. But now that's changing.
That's past tense.
Now that's changing.
Now
Now that's changing. The business model, so to speak, of the United States is changing. That's a problem. That's a real problem.
Not for the good.
No, it's horrible.
They keep trying to tell us and make us, with their misinformation,
Well, that's
this is gonna be good.
Right,
This
well,
is
they're
gonna
gonna-
be great.
Well, they're gonna lie, right?
They always do.
Yeah, that's what they do. So they're gonna lie. And we're talking about how fantastic, and I appreciate what you have in your left hand.
Talking about Warren Buffett and a good business model.
You heard it?
I was listening the whole time.
You're kind of a little genius, aren't you?
Yeah, I have a phone.
Well, welcome.
That looks like my Ukrainian flag
It-
holder.
That's what it's for me.
This is
'Cause it's in
formerly
my office.
my Harris Walls sign holder, and it is now.
It's gonna be repurposed. I need another one for Canada, the Canada flag.
Yeah, we need Canada
I
and
don't have
Mexico. We
that.
might as well
You can
throw
get
them
them
in too.
If can get them at Home Depot, and if you hate to shop at Home Depot because of their support for our current administration, you could try Lowe's. I don't know if it's in Lowe's, but they have.
You're talking about flags, the flags?
No,
Or these gizmos? Yeah, okay. All right, good. All right, so does that kind of begin to set it up? I wanted to set this up kind of emotionally. Did I manage to do that? Yeah, okay. Hey, listen, we are as best we can, people of faith. We are people of faith. People of faith have lived for 4,000 years, right? The world has gone through all sorts of things. We are facing extinction right now. I mean, that's troubling. But people of faith still enter the world as people who are gracious and truth-telling and try to do the right thing as best you can, no matter what the circumstance. So that's, so let's ease up on, it feels different for people that are not, have some kind of faith in the goodness of the world or goodness of the creation, goodness of God, if you believe in God, goodness of inherent in other people. You know what I mean? So let's not get too bent out of shape about this. I mean, even if you get shot, so what? Do you know what I mean? Grace is going to win in the end. It may be very difficult for people, very difficult maybe for me and you, I don't know. But, come on. You see what I mean? I sleep like a baby. I do. I don't lose sleep over this, and I hope you don't either. I mean, it's our turn to go through difficult times. That's just the way it is. It's history. History unfolds. Horrible people are involved in history, and many, many great people are involved too. So here we are. And I'm 65. I mean, who cares? No. St. Paul says, I have already been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives within me. So the good news is you're already dead. If you talk to people who are in highly anxious situations, for instance, like fighter pilots, the best fighter pilots that we've ever had, they go up in the sky and they already consider themselves dead. So you don't worry about it. You just get at it. And I think that's true for ordinary life too. We're finite beings. And so we know that. We don't know the number of years that we're going to get, but we know we're finite, so you might as well get at it. That makes sense? Live a great life with the years you've got. That make more sense? It makes a lot of sense to me. I've always lived like that. I think I got it really from my parents, not necessarily from being a person of faith. This is what you get. Go knock yourself out. I'm happy that way. All right. Jeremiah is not happy this way. Why don't we just read a little bit more, like from chapter 3, 13 through 24. Let's just close it out a little bit, just so we can get a taste of this guy's what's driving him. 13, he drove into my heart.
Want me to talk?
Yeah, would you? Yeah, thanks. Just dive in.
He shot into my vitals the arrows of his quiver. I have become the laughing stock of all my people, the object of their taunt songs all day long. He has filled me with bitterness. He has sated me with wormwood. He has made my teeth grind on gravel and made me cower in ashes. My soul is bereft of peace. I have forgotten what happiness is. So I say, Gone is my glory and all that I had hoped from the Lord. May I keep going?
Yeah, through 24, please.
Okay. The thought of my affliction and my homelessness is wormwood and gall. My soul continually thinks of it and is bowed down within me. But this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore, I will hope in him.
It's a great little section, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you make of it? What do you make of that?
Yeah, I'm just looking to see where he changes.
Yeah, he flips.
Yeah, it's 21. Yeah, verse 21. It's
Which chapter were we in?
three.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I was hunting for Jeremiah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should.
But you know, it's almost all of a sudden there's hope
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
yeah. How do you explain? Yeah. How do you explain it?
Well, when he thinks back to, what is he thinking back to? Where
But
was
this
it?
I call to mind, and therefore I have hope.
But this I
Yeah.
call to mind, so
Yeah.
it's when he calls this
Yeah,
positive stuff to mind,
yeah.
he has hope.
This, you know the song, right? The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His glory, His mercies never come to an end. You know that song? It's a little camp song, a little Christian camp song.
That's we know.
Yeah, they sing that. They have no idea what the context is. You know, this is horrible.
Say it again.
The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning, new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness, O God. Great is thy faithfulness. Do you know it?
I don't know it, but I've sung it
Yeah.
before.
You have,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, with maybe the kids.
Yeah, I don't know Christian songs hardly at all, but I do know that one. Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
great is thy faithfulness.
Yeah. But this is taken right out, right? But, you know, I mean, I think for people singing this, it would be important to know that it's couched, it's embedded in this lament. It's like he shakes himself, shakes his head. Wait a minute, wait a minute. I remember, and therefore I have hope. Yeah, remember. Yeah.
It's a real scripture song. I love scriptures. I mean, they
Yeah, me
really
too.
are exactly what the scriptures say.
Yeah, me too.
Other songs are just kind of
Right.
the theme of that. song.
Yes, it's one step removed,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
But I like the ones.
Yeah, sing the scriptures, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so,
I wonder, what is it that makes him change his mind in the sense of he looks back at the...
I don't know.
I mean, he's sitting there lamenting like this, and then suddenly it's,
Yeah,
I recall these things to mind.
yeah, it's like he reframes the whole thing. What's that therapy, CBD therapy? That's marijuana.
Yeah.
CDP,
CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
cognitive behavioral therapy.
Reframe it in your mind.
Yeah, it's been reframed, and maybe he's been thinking about that too, not just the lament, but he's been spinning on, listen, let's have a broader perspective on this particular situation. We get into trouble with that, right? You're having a bad day, bad week, bad year, right? And you think that's it, right? You frame it with whatever's going on that's hurtful, harmful, toxic, whatever word you want to. And it helps often to put that day, week, month, year into a larger perspective, and thereby setting a different tone for it. Doesn't negate it. Doesn't negate the day or whatever you're going through. but it does soften it when you have a larger perspective on your life.
So what would make that happen in, say, my life? Suddenly I decide to think differently, to reframe, to,
Yeah.
what is gonna click on that says, Ruth, change your thoughts about this?
Well,
Think different. Maybe pray would do it.
Well, yeah, well, I think so. Well, this is kind of a prayer in itself, right? I mean, he's throwing stones at God. Hey, do you need me?
No.
You don't need me?
No.
All right, okay.
Have you not ever just changed your mind and thought and just known that there's something in you that is telling you that you need to think differently about that? I mean, I think these things happen all the time.
Oh, they do? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm just wondering, I'm trying to get a step back. What is it that makes that happen at that particular point?
Well, try this one on for size too. I like prayer too. Do you know your history? And then are you living in not just your own personal history or your family history, but do you know your history? Do you know the history of the country? Do you know your Bible history? We're living in a long stream of history. We are alive right here, right now, in the midst of ongoing history. Our own, our friends, our family, our companies, our church, our country, our world. We're living in history. And if you know your history better, then I think it'll help you become more settled.
He actually
Does that make
tells you
sense?
right here in the scripture that,
Yes.
what changed him.
What first?
This, on 21, he says, he's done all this lamentation, and then he says, but this I call to mind,
right,
and therefore I have hope.
Right.
And then, what he called to mind was the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases, and mercies never come to an
Yes.
end.
So he comforted himself.
He
Yes.
comforted with that knowledge that that was what brought his hope.
I think,
To me, I mean, that was.
Yeah.
I think maybe prayer would do that for me. Like if I were lamenting this way and just, ready to go under, and then I said to myself, Ruth, pray,
Yeah.
you'll feel better.
Right.
I
And
think
if I
that's what
did,
he was doing.
I think
in
you may be right.
Lamentations,
Yeah,
he
right.
was saying, Lord, this is the way I feel, this is what
Yes.
I am, and you've done this, and then his mind says, I think that was all a prayer, help me.
Oh, yeah.
deal
I agree with
this.
that, yeah.
And then it came to mind this
Yes.
knowledge that he had in his head of the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. I'm blaming you, Lord, but I know, I mean, that would be the way I would look at that.
I think the more we're talking about this, I think I'm looking for some practical way of getting out of feeling that way, but I think that is what happens.
Yeah.
For me, something says pray.
Right.
And when I do, that turns it for me.
Yeah, well, there you go.
could read chapter 3 of Lamentations.
Yeah, just read it. Well, I think that's why we have, one of the reasons we have the Bible is to help
We're
us.
like right on the spot. I need to go and get the Bible and actually, it should be, like if you've memorized.
Oh, it should be,
verses and
it's
parts
better
of
if
the
it's in your
Bible,
bones, yeah.
Just turn,
Oh, I'll refer in my prayers out, private prayers, I'll refer to passages.
turn. your
None of them
thoughts to
good.
those. Or even.
Oh, I bitch continually. I'm horrible.
even
We have a
song.
terrible relationship, the two of us. But here's another thing I wanted to offer as a possibility to think about. In my mind, there is a difference between optimism and hope. Optimism, in my mind, is a mental construct, right? Have a great day, you're terrific, you come from Whitehall, what could go wrong? Hope is based on history, and that's what he's doing. He's linking his hope with history. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. I can see it. I'm not going through it right now, but I can see it. It's happened before. I see that. And so I'm a part of this history. So that's hope in my mind. It's based on history. Optimism, I'm not negative about optimism either, but optimism is of a different sort. Both useful. But one is a mental construct, and this is Tom Fee talking, and maybe I'm right, maybe, but that's how I see it. Optimism is, changing your mind in a positive manner. Hope is seeing oneself in a stream of history that is redemptive in its nature, let's say, something like that. You don't have to agree with it, by the way, but am I making any sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I know we're not used to people talking in full sentences, but, we'll get used to it. What's that?
Dumb it down, would you?
Yeah, I'll try to dumb it down and just use phrases and change the subject and, make a mess of the English language.
Just reverse yourself.
Yeah. A dangerous person is a person who's vile and incompetent. And that's what we have in the Oval Office. And others as well. Vile and incompetent. It's a terrible combination.
Cruel.
Well, I put cruel and vile, but I don't want to make a really long sentence.
I
want to be brief. Yeah, I know that.
I have done that many times.
Yeah. Right. Well, here's
I'm not saying that.
Well, here's your instruction. I want you to get really good at it, if you would, okay? Because I don't like add-on sentences like St. Paul.
But I do have hope.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think hope is going to win out, but it's going to get
I
ugly
keep
for a while.
thinking that humankind has certain basic instincts
Well,
that
there
are
you go.
going to kick in.
Yeah.
I keep feeling that.
Higher instincts.
Yes.
Have we evolved in such a way that we're not just animals?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what Trump is. He's just an animal. And the people that work for him are animals. They think that way. Yeah, they think-
don't care about.
No.
I think that's what worries me
Right.
most is they don't care about you or me
No.
or anybody else. They care about
Right.
money and power.
They wouldn't
They
even,
don't care.
they don't care so much that they don't even realize that there are others. I mean, that's how bad it is.
Right.
They don't even recognize the other. I mean, they must have had horrible parents. But anyway, you know what I mean? From a psychological point of view, the object relations, they don't even...
Trump says that he was horrible.
Yeah.
Fred Trump, was that his name?
Yeah. This is all set in motion in my mind from how I was taught. 18 months. If you don't form object relations that are positive and helpful, you're in trouble for the rest of your life. Yeah. So I was, when I was first born, for instance, my parents brought in front of me different kinds of fruit because I'm from Fruitland Township. That would be helpful. I'm kidding. But when you do it, you get with smiley faces on it. See? That's a banana. It's got a smiley face on it. But, anyway, it's silly, but probably right. All right, so let's learn about this. There's a bunch of passages that I wanted to expose you to. The first one is Jeremiah. I think it's kind of useful to see beginning stories. How does it start out? Jeremiah 1. And we'll take a look at verse 4. See what kind of a character we're dealing with. Love this guy, by the way. I like the Isaiahs too. I like them a lot. It's kind of as people, They're people. So everybody there, Jeremiah 1:4. This is kind of how he gets called to being a prophet. It's usually a very good idea if you are a prophet that you didn't start out as one. Got blindsided, in other words. a number of them do. Anyway, verse 1, 4 through 10? Okay, thanks, Ann.
Sure.
Great.
Now the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. Then I said, Ah, Lord God, truly, I do not know how to speak, for I am only a boy. But the Lord said to me, Do not say, I am only a boy, for you shall go to all to whom I send you, and you shall speak whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you to deliver you, says the Lord. Then the Lord put out his hand and touched my mouth, and the Lord said to me, Now I have put my words in your mouth. Is that the stopping point?
Just, can you read through the next one, 10,
Yeah.
verse 10, please?
See, today I appoint you over nations and over kingdom, to pluck up and to pull down, to destroy and to overthrow, to build and to plant.
Okay, so that's what he's going to do. He's a kid, right? Just a kid.
What are you reading? I don't know why I don't see.
We're
you
Jeremiah.
reading the sign.
He moved us from Lamentations to Jeremiah.
Oh, I thought you moved us to Isaiah. I mean.
He keeps talking about these people.
Well, it just, it should be clear to you by now. I'm not a very good teacher. No,
Oh, sorry about that.
no, it's my
Okay.
fault.
No, the whole time that you all were reading in Lamentations, I was hunting madly for it in Jeremiah.
Yeah,
so-
sure, yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry if I were,
Well,
you deserve
It
better.
was me, I wasn't.
No, you
reading.
deserve a lot better and you're going to get it. So, all right, so what do we find out here? This is it, you know, how it gets called. Kind of in your own words, what did you hear?
And the Lord touched his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Does some other translations say that, is this the one with putting the coal
It's a
on
different-
fire?
Different prophet.
I'm sorry?
That's another prophet.
A
in the
different
Testament.
prophet.
Mhm.
So,
A hot coal in his mouth.
yeah.
Yeah, stutter.
Which
I
prophet?
want to say Ezekiel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So apparently there
Yeah.
is something having to do with the mouth that
Yeah,
makes sense,
sure.
relates to being a prophet.
Mhm. Well, and God entering, you know, the phrase, she has come to own her own voice. That, you know, when you find your voice, you hear that now and again, right? That little phrase. Isn't that similar to this? It's not just that you can speak, it's that you've discovered who you are, and it's then you are then being translated out into the world. You've got something to say. I love Katharine Graham as an example. She's one of my favorite people. You know, she took over the Washington Post during Watergate in Vietnam and made some unbelievable, courageous decisions. And she was working in the house before her husband shot himself. She found her voice, and because of that, the nation was saved. See what I mean? When you find your voice, often is the case that others will be saved. Who else has to find their voice? There's a few.
Well, and Moses, Aaron
Right.
says, Lord, I can't do this, I can't speak.
Moses says that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Moses
Moses
does.
says that. I'm a muddle.
It's
I can't get
Yeah.
any words out. He stutters. He's got a terrible stuttering problem. Moses does. So so God says, all right, your brother, was that form of sentence, we'll let him be your spokesperson.
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron, it's Aaron, sure.
So he is appointed to speak over nations and kingdoms,
Yeah,
to pluck up and pull down.
not just his own nation,
So
right?
the guy that came to faith, the one thing I do know about him is he's not doesn't prophesy so much over the nation. He prophesies over specific people.
Yeah.
So he was
Right.
Specific people?
Yeah,
specific
right.
people, like, you know, if you had been there, he might.
Yeah, like, you know, I see,
People that are there.
Well, yeah, well.
well, I
yeah.
see your gallbladder and it's inflamed and so on.
Yeah, he prophesies, the people that he is in contact with, well,
Yeah.
when he comes to.
Right,
To these meetings.
Yeah, he didn't say, from what I hear, what I gather, it's not so much over nations as
Oh, okay.
the Old
Yeah, right.
Testament prophets
Mhm.
often were prophesying.
Usually it has to do with social issues or political issues, yeah. Well,
Kingdoms coming down, it would happen.
yeah, and they,
Prophets prophesied that a lot.
yeah, and they do. I mean, Babylon gets blindsided
Yeah.
by Persia. And, I mean, Babylon was the toughest country on the block by far. And Persia rises up out of nowhere. And Cyrus,
And
they come down and clean house,
it
right?
seems like the reason that they fell, those kingdoms, was because God was unhappy with the evil.
Yep,
And,
injustice,
yeah.
injustice, yeah. Terrorizing people,
You're evil.
oppressing people.
Boom.
I'll tell you what, you see a lot of oppression, terror, lawlessness. You can bet you've got the attention of God. If you believe in God, and definitely, as I've said before, you can bank on prophets rising and starting to speak. You may kill them, you know, they may be killed. I mean, history is replete with prophets who have spoken truth to power who have then been killed.
Yeah.
Or whatever, in prison. So you can count on these things. But yeah, his is more like that sort of prophet in my mind is more like a tarot card reader. You know, you go and get a reading, a card reading, and they talk just about you and what's going to happen or what, you know, all that kind of thing. So I put them in the same category as a tarot card reader. I'm sure they would not like hearing that, but it's pretty much exactly what they do.
His point was that God would give him those
Right. Well,
words
tarot
that
card
he-
readers say the same thing. Right. Yeah. They say the
Except they
same.
would have the cards to.
Yeah, yeah. You get a little gizmo to do it, you know. But they're intuitives, I would say. People are intuitive. They pick up vibes from other people. I mean, good therapists do that, I think, right? You have somebody walk in the room, 15 seconds, you have a pretty good idea what's going on there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Pine Rest, you could watch people come down the hallway and you're already diagnosing them. You know, you can see it. See the walk, see the gait, see the, the interaction with the family. You know, we got pretty good at that. What's that?
I don't know if I would want somebody prophesying over me.
Well, that's too bad, Ruth, because I've already done it. And it's new. Why don't we stop here? We're going to give this a rest until fall, let's say, since I'm still going to be here potentially. We'll finish up with Jeremiah, and then I really want to get into what we call the minor prophets. It just means they served a shorter period of time, and their books are short, but they're really interesting. And I kind of want to do it selfishly because I think this is the kind of the season we're in. Historically, is be kind of fun to be able to pick out prophets, right? Because they're going to be coming. They're coming.
And by fall, we'll know a lot more of
Yeah.
what is.
Yeah, it might be
what's
good.
A lot can happen.
Good timing. Yeah. Well, if there hasn't been World War III or Canada hasn't bombed us or whatever, but
One of us.
yeah, they'll come down with swords. Yeah, 51st state. I mean, what kind of moron says something like that? But anyway, he is a moron. Vile and incompetent. It's a bad combination. We're going to talk about somebody else who's vile and incompetent on Sunday, and that's Herod Antipas. Yeah, and he's another one. I mean, we see these characters as the same. They play the same character role, you know, all throughout history. So this is not anything new. It's just that he can blow us up, this cartoon figure. Anyway, so hang in there, and Sunday we'll say a little bit more.
Now, what happens to do we meet next week, or are
We're
we
not going to
done?
meet next week. We're done. So I appreciate, and for those listening at home or watching from home too, it's really nice that you care enough to watch. So it's lovely, and I feel that way about you guys too. It's
We're gonna miss Jesus, prophet, priest, and king,
yeah, we're missing all of that.
or do we already know that?
No, we're going to go into all that. We're going to go into the minor prophets, and then we're going to hang a left and talk about Jesus
But
and his prophetic role. We'll do that in the fall.
not until the fall.
Right, we're done. Yeah, not until the fall.
Prophets may have come by the fall.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
Oh, we've killed half of them by then.
Then we can talk
It's going to be great.
before they get killed.
Are they real prophets, or are
Well, if they
they
get,
extorting money from us?
oh, this is how you know if somebody's a real prophet. They get killed. If you're not a real prophet, you're going to live a long, good life.
We're gonna talk about the dead prophets.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that get killed are the real ones.
Well,
That's a fail-safe way to know.
They so often predicted or prophesied the fall of the nation. So, you know, when they get here,
Well, we've already got a lot of those.
But sometimes nations,
Already got
We've
the
already
nation
got those
falling.
prophets, they're all over the place.
but there are times
I'm
where
one of them.
there are times when nations repent. They think again. They think differently again. We have that in the Bible too,
good.
That's my
right?
hope.
That's what's his name in the whale?
Ruth, and
Jonah. Thank you.
nations repent, and
It's not a whale, by the way. But anyway, we're not talking about that. But the story of Jonah is the story of a prophet prophesying to a nation, right? Nineveh, and Nineveh repents. Of course, the prophet doesn't like that because he wanted to see the show, you know. He goes up to a high mountain to see the destruction of Nineveh, which he's looking forward to. That's another issue. But that story, in part, is about a nation that wakes up. They become woke, if you will. You know, they wake up and they change their ways, and
good thing.
and
Well, I think
things go better.
today we're in that point where when the Social Security checks stop coming and we have millions of unemployed people who don't have jobs doing anything.
Right.
And people are gonna.
Oh, they're going to
I think
freak
they're gonna
out.
come around.
Oh, yeah.
At least I'm hoping the people that could stop it and haven't.
That could stop them.
Yeah.
Congress is the only one that can stop what's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
And they fell into line with it.
Oh yeah, and the Democrats don't know anything.
And
They're
I think
sponges.
that they will, I think they will. And I think if the people have to rise up though, we have to rise up and do it. I mean,
Yes.
you see them starting, I wish there were some march or
Well, it'll happen. It will
around
happen.
here. I
It'll
would
happen.
go
Yeah.
and with a sign,
So
I'd make
I
a sign.
signed up for Indivisible, which is basically get Democrats elected, but it's a grassroots movement. And there's a Hudson Valley section of it,
Yeah,
and I signed up for them. And you get emails about all the marches going on.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they were down in Poughkeepsie protesting the closing of the Social Security.
Yeah, right. That already happened. Yeah.
And so I can't go to a lot of marches.
Marches are not good for me.
Right. I've been shopping online for one of those canes that has a stool on it, so you could unfold the stool.
Oh, that's
sit
nice.
down.
Yeah.
People
Okay.
People have it, and I can't walk very far, but I could stand if I could sit down now.
Well,
Anyway.
when was the last time, on a consistent basis, that there was discussion, serious discussion about the poor in our country. We're now talking about middle class, not the poor. We don't even talk about the poor around here. I mean, when was the last election, presidential election, where people were talking about the poor? I can't remember.
Well, that's
Years
not how you
ago.
get votes.
Sorry?
That's not how you get votes.
Right, it's not politically savvy to do that because the nation does not care about the poor. That's on us. And so we're talking about inflation and the egg prices and gas prices and whatever. And that's pointed to middle class, lower middle class and above. We don't care about the poor. We don't care, and that's a problem.
But we have given them programs to get food. I mean, they can go to the grocery, if they're
Some.
poor, we give them Medicaid.
Yeah, well,
If
maintenance.
they're sick.
Yeah, there's a little bit of maintenance
Yeah.
that we give them, but that's not, to my mind, that's not really caring for a person. It's empowering a person is when you start to care, lifting them up out of poverty. That makes the difference. And maintenance is okay, we do it here too.
You have to.
You have to eat while you're,
Yeah, you
but
can't get lifted up and.
when you're starving, yeah, right, I totally agree with that.
Right.
You have to do both, but you don't hear that. It's not and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen at all. I don't want to talk like that, but it is so backwards when you have multi-billionaires, nearly a trillionaire on the one hand, and you've got this going on with the poor on the other hand, and that is not tenable for a society.
And all of the current administration, they're cutting all of these aid programs
Right.
that we do have.
SNAP program, Head Start,
In order to keep them from
paying taxes.
money
Right.
into them. We could have all of that. All we have
It's
to do is
disgusting.
make them pay their taxes.
It's
and
disgusting.
they won't do it.
They won't do it. And
And
they're not going to do it until they're forced to do it. They're not going to put that on themselves. They will have to be forced to do it. You have to take power from people like that. They will not give it up.
Congress could take that power, and they won't do it though.
Well,
That's
not
what I'm
ever.
saying.
Well,
We've
a lot
got
of
to
them
get
are-
more people,
a
we've
lot
got
of them are
different
those-
people in.
The rich people, right. We've created this monster over time, economically in the United States, and this is what you get.
So I don't have the name or the name of the book, but a book was just published about poverty, Michael somebody, and it's just come onto my radar, so I don't know very much about it, but somebody said that he said in this book, if we just made the billionaires pay their taxes, not change the laws, just pay their taxes
That's
that
right.
they already owe, we could fund
Education.
Oh, God.
Everything.
We could-
Everything that we
could
need.
give everybody education, as far as they could go, and we'd have plenty of doctors then, we'd have plenty of medical staff, we'd have scientists, we'd stay, but they won't make them do that because that's how, and the Supreme Court started this with Citizens
Citizens
United.
Yeah, that's right.
They're the very beginning, a corrupt Supreme Court,
Yeah.
which we have right now,
Right.
and we can't get rid of
No,
them.
it's even worse now than when they passed.
Worse,
Citizens.
worse. And they started it, and this is what it wrought. And until people see that,
How long?
and I'm not very political. I was a Republican until 2018. And so I'm not really political. I became a Democrat because I don't see the cruelty, the evilness, and I think they do want to feed the poor. I do believe that most of the Democrats want programs to feed the poor and housing
And raise the poor.
and right.
The education.
And they want rights, they want the freedoms, they want women's rights, they want gay rights, they want, and I think until the country can change and see the difference, because right now, Democrats, we're all socialists to them. They're taking my money and this is what these
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
say is, oh, I don't.
And give it
That's
to the
mine,
undeserving.
giving my tax money to them, you know,
And wasting it.
wasting it.
Yep.
And so, the Supreme Court's gotta go.
Well,
Well, we're a very adolescent society, and we act like, the country acts like adolescents. So, we'll see if we
most of the
can,
countries act like adolescents.
sorry?
Don't most of the countries act like adolescents?
Yeah, they do, but the
Yeah.
Netherlands doesn't.
There's one country in the world.
Neither does Canada.
Well, that's partial.
We can learn a few things from Canada.
So speaking of Canada, Malcolm Nance, who is a decorated soldier who has gone to fight in the United States, high ranking, I can't remember all his ranks and everything. He's written a number of books. He's a blazing liberal. He has written a long essay on Substack about the talk about invading Canada is real. And when one of my friends posted it, and I thought, oh, come on now. Then I read it. It was
I
horrifying.
thought the same thing.
Horrible.
I thought he was just
Right.
blustering,
Well,
he's
he's-
bullying,
well,
he's
he's
bullying, bullying.
These are,
Yeah. And
test
they're saying
balloons
he's
that is.
really thinking about it. Can you imagine?
Nance says that all of this, tariffs are on, tariffs are off,
Yeah.
taxes this is on, this is off.
Chaos.
Keeping everybody off
Yeah,
balance.
sure.
Chaos.
So that there'll be so much chaos when he goes to invade
Right.
that it'll give him a big advantage.
Well, he'll say things are terrible and only I can fix it. That's what these people do. Yeah. Thank you for this.
It's
already
Weston that has.
Hey, that's fun, wasn't it?
Well,